The quote by Edward Snowden is perhaps the most fundamental challenge to our current lack of concern regarding privacy. He said, arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. It is a powerful statement, but it is still assumed as noticeably loss, a restriction of speech, a clear breach. The true threat in the era of big data is far more insidious because the theft is completely invisible. Imagine opening a letter from your health insurance and reading, "We are increasing your monthly contribution. Our data indicates you consume too many sugar products. This raises your health risk score." You would think, how could they possibly know that? You never told them, you never allowed any analysis, yet here they are, making decisions about your life based on information you didn't know they had. This is how central systems work today. You don't feel the moment your data is collected. You don't notice when it's copied. You don't sense when it's being used. Because the theft of all the data is invisible. Nothing goes missing. Your files stay where they are. Your apps still work. Your screens look exactly the same. And that's, Robin, that's the perfect crime.
Yeah, sadly. So people imagine data misuse as something dramatic, so like a hack screen or a red warning light. But real data exploitation happens silently. So centralized systems copy your files, evaluate your patterns, and feed models that predict your behavior, and all without leaving a mark. So that's how it works today. That's not science fiction. That's standard practice. So when your data is copied, you never see it. When your profile is built, you never see it. And when your risk score changes, you only see the consequences, so never the cause. And the issue is centralization, technological structure where everything flows into one system, so one operator, one authority. And when all information flows into one location, whoever controls that location controls your digital life. So and if someone controls your digital life, they also have control over your physical life. And because every movement of your physical life is being documented somewhere, so that's the
Mhm.
cause.
Yeah, and that's where regulation often gets misunderstood. People say, but we have GDPR, as if GDPR were the solution to this entire mess. But GDPR, as you always say, fights the symptom, unauthorized use. It doesn't touch the disease.
Yes, GDPR tries to restrict what companies may do after they already have your data. So, but it never changed the fact that everything still ends up in central infrastructures you don't own. So that means that all laws for data protection always target the symptoms of underlying disease, and that disease is centralized technology in wrong hands. So you cannot legislate away a structural flaw. So you cannot regulate centralization into a safe system. The problem is not the rules. Problem is the architecture itself. And because this infrastructure is centralized, copying is effortless and invisible, and that's why hacks and central systems are so devastating. So you don't notice them. Nothing disappears. Everything simply gets duplicated. And this is the point people must understand. A central hack feels exactly like a normal day for that user. No missing files, no alerts, no visible scar. And that's why the world keeps getting hacked and nobody sees it, but the consequences are enormous.
Mhm. This is why you often say that the entire model storing life in a central system is a structural death end, a path we can't repair with tighter laws, better passwords, or more encryption performed inside someone else's servers.
Absolutely right. Yeah, because of all that, still keeps in the basic principle alive. So your data leaves your device, enters someone else's system, and becomes fully analyzable. So no matter how it's wrapped legally or technical, the center still sees everything. And the truth is, there is no way to make centralized data storage truly safe. So you can add frameworks and procedures and compliance protocols, and all the big tech companies are trying to solve this right now. So you see a lot of ads and statements and more settings to protect your data. So because they know they have something to do about it. But as long as the underlying structure is central, and the entire business model is based on centralization, the imbalance stays. So the power, the visibility, and the risk stays. And there's only one solution, and that is remove the center.
So let's flip the script. Let's talk about decentralization. Not a buzzword, but as the actual alternative architecture that ends the transparency problem at its roots.
Yeah, and the key to understanding this new architecture are two concepts, nodes and puzzle encryption. So nodes are simply independent storage providers, so thousands of machines all over the world connected via the blockchain. And these machines don't belong to one corporation. They belong to individuals, infrastructure operators, and anyone who wants to participate in the network. And so no node has authority, no node has access, no node knows what it stores. And that's where the puzzle part comes in with decentralization. So when you upload a file in a decentralized system, the file is encrypted in your on your own device first, and then split into many small fragments, like pieces of a giant puzzle. And each of those fragments is encrypted again and sent to a different node. So a node receives only fragments or one fragment, but the fragment is meaningless, so it cannot be read. Even if someone compromises a node, they won't would get nothing. So just a tiny encrypted piece with no context. And to reconstruct the file, you need enough of the pieces plus cryptographic instructions to put the pieces back together. And those instructions sit on your blockchain wallet, so on your digital key. And the network cannot read your data, then the node cannot read your data, the operator cannot read your data, only you can. So but everything I described is technology under the surface. So just like nobody cares about the radio protocols of a smartphone while using it, consumers don't need to understand how decentralization works. So on the surface, everything looks and feels the same as usual. And that's a good thing, but that's also the bad thing, because people say, so why should I change my running system when everything looks the same on my screen, and I can't feel the difference.
Mhm. Yes, but that's exactly the moment when the idea of transparency through data collapses completely. Because there is no longer a place where everything comes together. Expect in the hands of the user, right? And users will feel the consequences when they are protected against the forced transparency.
Yeah, you know, I think at this point, it's no longer mainly a technological problem, it's a psychological one. So the technology for digital self-sovereignty already exists, but we are still living in the very first version of the internet we got used to, and we become comfortable with it. And centralization is like sugar. Okay, I always compared it. For centuries, people believed sugar was good for them. There were even ads telling you to eat more sugar. It was driven by industry lobbies, and nobody stopped it because it was profitable for them and very convenient for customers, because sugar tastes great. So that was a comfortable loop. Only later did we realize that sugar, as good as it tastes and as convenient as it is, does more long-term damage than the comfort it provides. So that's exactly the same like with data. So the big tech lobby offers incredibly convenient services to make our lives easier. And the deal is that we don't only pay with money, but also hand over entire data trail and store it on their server farms. And at this point, hopefully, the same thing will happen as with sugar. The number of people who say, wait a second, as convenient as all that is, it's starting to harm us because we are becoming completely steerable and transparent. So we'll reach a tipping point.
Mhm. So let's close with something practical. If someone listening wants to stop feeding central systems with their digital life, what's the first step, Robin? Because right now we are still living in a very centralized digital world. It's hard to get out. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, of course. So it's not possible to switch everything to decentralized systems overnight. So all the apps we currently use are still centralized, but it can't stay this way. So we have to change it step by step, democratize data, slowly reduce dependencies, and make sure we fight for self-determination, not only in our analog lives, but also in our digital existence. So if we don't, our digital dependency will slowly erode our self-determination and freedom in normal life and physical life. So subtly, we won't even notice it happening. So that's how you end up in a kind of a Terminator scenario where without ever having a big dramatic moment. So, but the first step is actually very simple. So, if you already have a blockchain wallet to store your coins and tokens, you can also use to store your data anonymously and independently via the blockchain. So, the first step is you move your most important files out of centralized systems and into decentralized networks. Or a decentralized network like the Twinity blockchain cloud. So you connect it with your blockchain wallet, your personal key, and from that moment on, your data lives in a place where no one can inspect, copy it, score it, or exploit it. So you move from a world where your data is everyone's business to a world where your data is no one's business but yours.
Mm. And that's what that episode is actually about. Centralization is like sugar, sweet, easy, and quietly destructive, because transparency should be your choice, not the default setting of a system built for someone else's benefits. If you want to support us, leave a follow, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Join our Discord community, participate in our daily Advent calendar giveaways, and don't miss our weekly Twinity Data Dragon quiz show to earn Twin tokens. Want to control your data today? Check out your blockchain cloud at twinity.shop and get 1 terabyte for only €7 per month with the code 1TB. Stay sovereign and see you in the next episode, guys.
See you next week. Bye.